Ash Block, welcome to the Double Triple podcast. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Exciting.
Very exciting point in the program, or your life rather, where you're about to move into this amazing tech sales role after what
Yeah.
quite a journey it's been over the last 2 months or so.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Feels like it's gone really quick now, but yeah, at the pointy end and look forward to starting in a couple of weeks.
yeah, super exciting. And big headlines stand out for you. I think a lot of people come from varying professional experience in their past. You certainly have this amazing professional history, which we workshopped a lot in terms of the strategy. And I even remember joking about your Tennis Australia experience. Booking court specialist might not necessarily translate directly to tech sales, but here we are. But of
Yes.
course, your recent experience at Play HQ, where you wore quite a lot of hats in quite a niche sort of tech, sports tech, startup, scale up. There was a lot to work with there in terms of really helping you maximize this pivot now. And you've gotten a standout result in Gorgeous, which I'm excited to talk through, about a 200K OTE and overall package equity benefits super on top of that. Plus, then the remote work thing became increasingly important. But I'd love to just tease out your journey and really talk from your experience end to end in the double triple program. So I'm really excited to bring that to life today.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. Yeah, thanks to you and Kayla for all your support as well. So it's been a nice few days of celebrating that. But yes, I had been at Play HQ for the last 5 years in like a really broad role. The team was 50 to 60 people at different times whilst I was there, but I looked after everything customer facing at different times, and that included new business, which I really enjoyed, but also because the role was quite broad, a lot of it was account management, community management, and even a bit of customer support as well. So I kind of had a decision to make leaving there what I wanted to do next. And I really enjoyed the new business part. I enjoyed meeting new people, I enjoyed doing demos and things like that. So it was kind of the obvious next step. But yeah, before that, I'd been at Tennis Australia. As you said, court booking specialist was a bit of a weird title that we had to navigate. My friends used to always joke with me that I would have to book dinners and things like that because I was the booking specialist. So that always went on. It still goes on, actually. That's still what I do for them. But even in that, like the role really was to try and sell in this digital booking system to tennis clubs around the country. So it did have a sales element, but it wasn't really reflected in the title. And at the time, I probably didn't even really think of myself as doing that. But as we kind of nutted out the story, it was clear that that's what I'd been doing the entire time. So it's nice to be able to like focus on that AE role now.
Yeah, awesome, Ash. I think that also highlights from both of those experiences just the power of the positioning and the storytelling too, because I don't know, what was your experience from the roles and even just the conversations you had? There's so many tangential and relatable, like sales-esque responsibilities in those still, right? Which I don't
Yeah,
think,
absolutely. And I think like the first interview that I did with Qualtrics through the relationship with you guys, like I don't think I did a very good job of like telling that narrative and having it really clear in my mind. And I just got better and better at that, focusing on the right parts of the sales journey and part of my experience, and then pulling on those account management skills when I needed to, because I think they'll be really, really helpful in my current the role that I'm going into next. So they just weren't the headlines, and I was probably focusing on them a little bit too much of being like, oh, I've got all of this broad experience. And I think some of the questions was like, yeah, but can you actually sell? And I was like, well, I've actually done a lot of that as well, and just trying to make sure I was highlighting that up front, and then the other things being secondary and hopefully a benefit to my next employee.
yeah, awesome. How much did it shift the dialogue for you when you actually chose to focus on the sales stuff up front in those conversations?
Yeah, it was a massive change. Like just being really crisp on the numbers, being really clear on what I had done and focusing on it. I think Play HQ, we moved so quickly into different phases. Like when I started at the company, I think we only had one client actually live and using the platform. So we would move so quickly. And then by the time I finished, we're an international company. You didn't really have a lot of time to sit down and focus and reflect on some of those achievements. So it was actually really nice to do that as well. So I'd finished there in January, but it completely changed how I was even thinking about myself, and a lot more confident going into those conversations, just to sit down and actually document it, as you guys say, kind of go through that elevator pitch and do it properly. It made a massive difference.
Yeah, I love that. I remember distinctively one of our coaching calls of like, okay, what's the new business revenue number just in your whole experience? And you're like, oh, like more than $3 million. And I'm like, Ash, this is gold.
Yeah, I rang my manager at PlayHQ at the time, and I was like, I just need to get this right. And then he's sitting there doing the math with me,
Yeah.
and we were both just like, yeah, it was a lot. We just never really like sat and stopped and thought about it enough.
Totally. Yeah, it's funny when you're in a startup environment too, like you say, it's just sprint the marathon. Oftentimes not enough time for the reflective piece, and then probably even, nice for you to even reflect on that over the last couple of months now as
Yeah,
you move into
absolutely it
this
was. Yeah, it
next
was really
phase.
good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Great. And then if we think about then big milestones, you had Qualtrics, Decagon, this big hot AI startup, varying roles, positioning. There was a few others on the job shortlist too, early stage. And then you were almost coming to the dark side in cyber at one point there, Ash.
You nearly got me.
Yeah, that's right. And then all the signals pointing to gorgeous in the end.
Yeah.
But talk us through just the actual types of roles in the companies, maybe at a high level as you move through the program in that mid stage.
Yeah, we spoke about this really early as well because I had come from sport, which was something that I was so passionate about. Excuse me. I was still keen to kind of stay in an industry and a role that kind of I knew something about that I did have the same knowledge and passion about. So those customer experience companies were kind of the direction that I kept getting drawn to. So yeah, there was the Qualtrics one. The Decagon one was a bit random, like it was a solution engineer role. But again, when I went back to kind of all my experience at Play HQ, I started there in kind of like a product expert role, helping our community. I led the demo, so it did have a nice fit to it there, and it was a really exciting company. So I thought it was worth trying to progress with that one. Ultimately, that didn't progress. They probably needed someone with a bit more technical experience, but again, just to go through that interview process was really exciting. And then yeah, to land on Gorgeous, who is kind of customer experience is at the heart of what they do, which is really important to me, is a really nice fit.
Love it. Super important to think about that too, right? In terms of where you can be passionate or experience, or at least future looking, what you might get a lot of traction or tailwinds for in your career.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely a relationship person, so being able to kind of make sure I've got a rapport with people really quickly, understand their business problems is something that's really important to me. So I think I'll be able to do that on that customer experience side of things.
Yeah, love it. Now, we have a bit of a framework around the dimensions, 5 key dimensions where you think about making a decision on what the role looks like. Inevitably, it's like salary, the type of company, work mode, whether that's hybrid, etc. And then there's also like a people and culture element, as well as just longer term career growth. That's our view of the world. Of course, you take the frameworks and the models and apply it to what works for you individually. But I'd love for you to share, Ash, your decision criteria up front and maybe how it also evolved over time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think obviously we spoke a little bit about like account management and things like that as well. And then no, let's like really go hard at these AE roles. It was what I wanted to do. The financial upside was important as well, but it was something that I really enjoyed doing it at PlayHQ. As I said, like getting to know people, solving problems was really something that I like. So that was kind of ticking the boxes there. I think I started saying like, oh, hybrid would be nice. That's probably something I wanted to do. And then over time was just kind of like I was back in an office doing some contracting 3 days a week. Routine went out the door a little bit, and I was like, oh, remote could be good. So that definitely played into it as well, as long along with what it was. So I think we probably hit all five in the end, which was pretty impressive and exciting. And we kind of like we spoke early, Gabe. I was like, I'm not in any rush. Like I'd rather take my time and find the right role. I'm definitely not out there just kind of applying for everything. So to hit probably all five in some capacity is pretty impressive and exciting.
5 out of 5, Ash. It's like the quintfecta, not a trifecta.
There you go. I didn't know that that's what the
I
term
don't.
was.
I
So
think I just made that up on
you
the
made it
spot.
up. Okay, well, it
Yeah.
is now. I'm going with it.
Yeah, no, we're super pleased for you though, Ash. And I think a big standout for me, working with you in this journey has been what I described before in terms of the strategic patience over volume. And everyone is different in terms of how they apply the playbooks and they execute. But what I really liked, even early on, was you were very transparent up front. I'm working through this. I think you were going snowboarding again in Japan, and I got FOMO, a few family things, had a little bit of treading water. And we're like, yeah, we can support that. But through the whole process, you never did the spray and pray, which we're never fans of anyway. And
Yeah,
you were very strategic in your approach. And I think that was really highlighted towards the end when you had the gorgeous opportunity come up because your interview preparation was just 10 out of 10 as well. And I think that really stood out in the interview and ultimately is a signal for the hiring team as to you being the number one candidate. So that was also a big standout for me. And I think it can't be overstated how important the interview preparation and the strategic approach is to getting these type of outcomes.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like, because I've worked in sport most of my life, something that I've enjoyed so much, I felt like I had to do something that I did care about. And then as I was going through the interview process for Gorgeous, I was genuinely getting more and more excited by like the product and who they work with and what they do, the problem they're kind of trying to solve. So it was getting, yeah, I actually enjoyed going through the interview process. Like I think I said to you, like once we got to kind of like the case study mode, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I love this. Like, I don't have to talk
Yeah,
about myself in the
yeah,
interview. Like
exactly.
I can just present and show what I can do rather than talk about it. So yeah, I really enjoyed the interview process actually, but I think no doubt the preparation time I spent like I think they recommended you spend 4 hours on the case study. I probably spent 8 to 10, if not more, just making sure I had that right. Because part of it as well was like I want to show myself that I could do this job. So you
Yeah.
know it's exactly what you're going to be doing in the role. So I actually really enjoyed going through that process, and it was definitely reflected, I think, in the feedback I got throughout the interview process that I'd spent the time and that that was really clear. So that was nice to hear that that was recognised.
Smashed it. Could you actually talk to us? What was the case study in detail?
Yeah, so I had to choose a potential gorgeous customer to essentially pitch to and submit a deck along with my planning. And then if the team kind of liked that and liked the direction of it, it was then to present it. So I did PE Nation, so Australian Activewear Brands is generally something that I am familiar with. They spend a lot of time delivering to my house. So um, I was kind of familiar there. But yeah, it was good to just kind of go through, okay, well, what would I actually research? What's the ideal customer profile? What are they using at the moment, and all of that. So yeah, again, it was just really good preparation for the job. And the thing that I liked about the interview process was they actually gave like live feedback as you were presenting, really valuable as well, really transparent. So looking forward to working with the team.
Yeah, it's awesome. I did notice with your interview requirements and brief, because we see so many, that it was like, hey, submit the deliverable first, and then we'll decide to invite you to the interview. I was like,
Yeah,
oof.
yeah, I know there was a lot of pressure on getting that presentation right. And again, I'm probably much more of like a conversational
Mm,
person. Like I think I was talking to you about like trying to get the right mode of like, hey, I want the conversation to flow and not have to follow my slides too much, and like you're almost reverse engineering like what the next steps on that would be. So I wanted to make sure I got that right. But I think the prep document that I submitted was probably more helpful and showed how much time I'd spent on it and then was able to talk to it.
yeah, it's always worth sort of going above and beyond too, right? Which is like, here's the prep doc as well as the deliverable you've asked for, and the instructions of who's going to play what role in the interview and how it relates to the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think I walked out of most of those or all of those interviews going like I feel like I've done nearly everything I can. Like obviously there was some bits of feedback and stuff that you always wish that maybe you'd spoken to a little bit better, but overall I don't feel like I could have done any better than what I did. So if it happens, which is a nice feeling.
Yeah, love it. Interestingly, too, in the requirement of the case study, you had an element of discovery, and it was a constraint too, which we see 5 or 6 slides max, wasn't it, Ash? And then it was
Yeah,
like
that's
there was
right.
an
Yeah.
element of like opening and context setting, but then there was like a discovery portion, but then linked to like a pitch for Gorgeous and that customer, and always an outcome, always be closing. Like you either get that meeting or you know agree on. It's sort of like the salesmanship comes to life in that next step. And it
Yeah.
was interesting for you, but maybe it talks to the role and the type of the business. But you had, you know, throughout the double triple program, we're really teaching discovery and the frameworks around that and how to run effective discovery. People oftentimes do relate that directly to the SDR role for good reason. And then there's a second big element, which is like the closing and like how do you actually close deals. But it's like this is an AE role that you've secured. And interestingly, in your case study, you had a mix of both to really nail when you actually presented that. So I think that was a really interesting nuance associated with AE because you're always navigating between the two.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a large portion of that was discovery, and again, that is a really good fit for me. I love that part. I like to know as much as I can about a potential business. So, but yeah, it was definitely like quite a bit of detail, and I probably focused 20 minutes of that discovery session on just listening to the questions. For them, it's like it's awkward to do the role play. Like even the guys on the call, you know, like it's hard for them. I can't imagine how many they've kind of done, and they've got to play their role, and you kind of got to commit to it. Otherwise, it's probably even more uncomfortable. But it definitely helps, and it's just good prep for the role. But the discovery part of it again, I think that's something that I've always done naturally, like ask a lot of questions, try and find out as much, try and answer the question in a way that you're still talking about them, but you're also pitching a little bit through
Mm.
those responses. But all of the content on like Double Triple helped with that incredibly, just to get like the narrative really, really tight when you've only got 20 minutes to show all of those skill sets. To have it so tight, it was really important.
Yeah, awesome. And interestingly too, Ashik, we've fairly recently moved into Circle and the app, and you are an OG founding member too, coming out of Notion, and maybe earlier stage program for yourself. But it was really pleasing for me to hear the feedback from you when you mentioned like the frameworks and the content actually really helped you, just as a guide even for that interview prep. So that was awesome to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. And to go back, like one of the things we spoke about, I probably had like read a lot of the Notion content. And again, it's like high level what a lot of people have already been doing potentially who are trying to get to AE roles, but to just see it as an actual framework and then to go back when you need it was actually really helpful. And that was one of the things that I was really excited about. Double Triple was it's not just like about how do you get through the interview process, like you're not just trying to hack an interview to get a job. It's like, okay, how do you actually become the best AE into the future, which I think is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. You had to learn the 30, 60, 90 day and, pro tips for success. And even for people just gravitating towards more of a relationship based sell or the value selling frameworks versus maybe more of a challenger sell. There's like different styles in sales methodologies and philosophies too.
Yeah, exactly. And to kind of sit down and be like, which one actually am I? And like really think about that is important for the interview, but it's again just really good prep for the role.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you
Yeah.
want to be hitting the ground running and prepping and sort of everything, all roads lead to that moment too. First day in the role now, it's like you're going to have been a lot more prepped and like even just the profiling around the company and the role that happens inevitably prior to starting is like they're all inputs to really hit the ground running on the first week in your
Yeah.
first quarter.
Yeah, Charlie and I were talking about this the other day because obviously he's got his as well. Said like we kind of feel like you already work there, and no one
Yeah.
feel that. So it's good that the time spent comes to something.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, you're both rolling into already having an inflated pipeline because you know the ICP so well.
Hopefully, yeah,
That's the plan.
that's the plan. Yeah.
Love it. What happened after that, Ash? After case study deliverable, you had the final round with a very senior stakeholder as the final.
Yeah, so senior stakeholder, I think he was based in New York. He was relatively new to the company as well. But that was really enjoyable. It was just kind of a bit more of a casual chat to get to know one another, hear more about the strategic direction of the company, ask some questions. And again, I really enjoyed that chat. Again, we kind of laughed about it. Like as you go through, you feel a bit more relaxed and it's not as structured, but you can find out a lot about that. And I remember saying to Tony, who I spoke to, like, is there any concerns that you have? And because my background was so broad, he was like, oh, I just wanted to know that you could sell. And you've answered that so quickly. He's like, I could see from your resume and heard that you'd done all of these other things, which is great, but we needed someone who essentially can sell. But you've proved that to me on this call that that's what you want to do. And so, yeah, it was exciting.
Yeah, so good. You asked the reverse card straight up front, it sounds.
Yeah, it was pretty early in the conversation because it was quite a casual chat and it was good to
Yeah.
learn a lot more about his journey and also where the company was going. So it was good. They're really honest and transparent. It seems like so that's a massive plus for me.
Totally, yeah. I know you were joking about just like it got easier as you got to the end.
Yeah,
It
it did.
almost in a sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I mean, you also want to be yourself, so they know exactly what they're getting as well, right? So yeah, I think it did get easier. Like you've got to go through the process, and it was still um put your best foot forward and things like that. But I think they've got a pretty good picture of who I am as a person and what I'll bring now, which is important to me.
Yeah, for sure. How much of the people and culture side, just getting along with the stakeholders, how much did that go into it in terms of making the decision around this opportunity, Ash?
Yeah, I kept saying this to you like the whole way through. Like they seem really transparent. They're so responsive. From the recruiting person who I spoke to up front. So, and Simon, who'll be my manager here, I actually contacted him through LinkedIn. So, following the outreach process, I think he came back to me within like a half an hour of me messaging him, called me, sort of told me the next steps to help me get through to the first interview. And then I never waited more than probably 13 hours for a response after my interview. So I was just like, okay, these guys are on it. They're organized. They're answering all my questions. They're really transparent in like how they talk about compensation and all of those things. So yeah, it was a really good cultural fit from the start.
Yeah, I know even when we started profiling Gorgeous, it was just like they have this super spreadsheet posted online about pay and conditions. It's like very transparent, which I think resonated with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I feel like they just want to get to know you straight away, and everything's out in the open, which is it's kind of nice.
Yeah, I love it. Awesome, Ash. What was overarchingly the thing that sort of from and it was a confluence of all these dimensions for you, but are you excited about starting the role at Gorgeous in terms of what the opportunity is? I know coming into this domain, technologically, the people, 100% remote, it feels like such a home run for you. So, how excited are you for the next couple of weeks as you get started?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a relatively small team out here in Australia, so most of them, I think there's going to be four or five of us, all relatively new hires or recent hires. So just that was part of it for me as well, like just getting to form a little bit of the processes and what it does look like in APAC. Because again, go back to the PlatchQ background, there was a lot of things that we were kind of building on the run as we went through it, and I really enjoyed that. So but there's also, by the sounds of things, a really exciting pipeline. They've got quite a few customers out here already with limited investment so far in the region. So it's pretty exciting that I'll be able to walk into a fair pipeline of potential customers and existing ones that will grow. And again, I think that kind of account management part of it really helped me in the background as well to be a good fit for the role.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I forgot to mention too, it's almost like a bit of a founding team-esque startup scale up type of environment, isn't it? Like smaller team, you get to really build something. Again, I think that relates really nicely to your experience and probably like a big point of strength for you standing out as a candidate. Two other things from my perspective, technically for those listening, your role is like an APAC AE role. And I know they'll look to get the market traction here in Australia and look to expand, but I think that's really, really cool. And then just back on the package that you've been offered, there was levers you could pull in terms of opting in for more equity versus the base and commission. So those two things were really interesting in terms of the actual offer that you got from those regards because transparency, but it was like powers in your hand if you wanted to optimize for the equity, bigger term payoff, and you're in a position to do so. It's just like it's really cool to see that come to life as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, they're like so upfront with all of that information and completely within your hands. Like when the offer come through, they don't lead you one way or another. It's just like here it is. There's no kind of pressure to do one thing or not. It's like they talk you through every single option in a bit of detail, and then completely your choice, which is nice. And people are at different stages of their life. Like they may need to kind of increase that base a little bit, or they may want to take the more risky option for the longer term payoff, which yeah was something that was available to me in terms of where I'm at with my stage of life. So that was perfect.
Very cool. Yeah, talk us through. You actually got like a spreadsheet, right? You got the offer, you got the documents come through for the contract, and then you got this spreadsheet, which was just like, here are examples of what you could you just explain to the audience like what it actually looked like? Because I think it's a really interesting thing.
Yeah, it was cool. So they it's all on their website as well, so you can go check it out on like their salary calculator. But they just send you three options, which is like here's your base salary, your estimated OTA if you hit all of your targets. And there was three options, and then included in each of the three was the equity offer. So you could have a lower base salary with a much higher equity offer, kind of middle range of both, or no equity and a higher base salary. And they talk through all of those out in dollars. And again, really transparent. Like the equity may or may not come to fruition. You never know with those things. So it wasn't kind of like, oh, this is definitely going to happen and this is our plan for 2 or 3 years. It was just like you're taking that risk if you want to take it, but it's completely up to you. So yeah, it was pretty detailed to see, and again, just another reason why I was kind of attracted to it.
Yeah, for sure. And even just like on top of that, then the benefits, there's a big value of benefits there. And then on top of that, also in Australia, the superannuation being paid on top of that too, other allowances throughout. So it's just cool to see, again, the components of the overarching package. Typically, people, especially coming from different industries, might think just the base only. But, if you think about the OTE, which is the commission on top of that, plus the big upside being the equity, then people almost it's like don't forget that there's also then these benefits and like super on top of that too. So it's just like it's a nice all-encompassing remuneration package, all things
Yeah,
considered.
100%. And even like their like work from home allowance, their learning allowance. I think they give you some gym, or like active allowance in that as well. So all of those things, like it added up quite quickly.
Yeah, for sure. When you were at Play HQ, Ash, did you have an element of being like on site?
Yeah, we did. We had an office 2 days a week generally.
Yeah.
Towards the end, I was like quite international hours, so I wasn't in there as much, but that was nice. So it will be a little bit different for me to be fully remote, but again, probably out talking to customers and getting my social fix and people fix that way. I think it'll be a nice change to kind of build the lifestyle around that. And my manager he's actually Melbourne based as well, so that's nice.
Ah, that's awesome. Yeah, totally. Welcome to the new world in fully tech sales, being 100% remote, choosing your own adventure, making sure your
Yeah, yeah,
schedule's all dialed, and it's like a whole nother level of productivity, in our
yeah,
opinion, related to like getting outcomes for the role as well as, like you say, if you on site with customers, happy days, team
yeah,
members. So,
yeah, exactly. Take me back to COVID a little bit,
oh
but
yeah, true.
no, it's an important part. Like I really enjoy remote. I enjoy the flexibility. That time that you kind of spend traveling takes away from other parts of your life some days. So it'll be really nice to get back into that routine and know exactly what it is.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, I think I kept
What
seeing you about my gym routine being a little bit out of whack since I'd been back in an office. So we'll get that back on track.
Totally. The last couple of months with the contracting work, and you're like, oh gosh, I remember you were just like, how does this new time work? Because like I've just had
Yeah,
five
yeah, I
days
was
in the
moving you
office.
around all the time because I was like back in an office and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And meeting rooms
No, for
are hard to
sure.
find. So yeah, it had been
Yeah,
a long time since I would have been doing 3 days consistently in an office.
totally. Yeah. We look forward to seeing the home gym set up and all the optimized routine, Ash.
I've already brought the home gym. I'll show you it later, Gab.
Yeah, good, good, good. Send us a video, a
Yeah,
couple of photos.
yeah.
Too good. Very exciting. And we'll see you this Saturday in Melbourne. We're actually planning our first. We've had the Sydney IRL trip with the double triple members, but making the making the great migration south to Melbourne to come and hang out on Saturday. So it's going to be good to see you all there and talk in person about what the future holds. Even though we're talking about remote work and work from home, every now and then it's good to get the social fix, like you say.
Absolutely. No, that'll be really nice to see everyone in person. I think, yeah, people are at different stages of that journey as well. So a few that have started their roles recently. So I'll be picking their brain about what kind of the first month or so has looked like for them.
Yeah, for sure. Ash, also on the program and community side, we inevitably see people cross-pollinating, sharing experiences. We've had a few cycles of like, even people are really inspired by your journey. There's a newer member, I think, about to reach out to you. We saw that with Charlie, Mike, Willem. There's like a lot of people now just being like, oh wow, how much would you say that the community also added a lot of value to the journey and just like what you've been able to achieve here from a double triple perspective too.
Yeah, it's so nice to be able to share, like when you've got similar experiences or you're going for similar roles. It's nice to just be able to like flick someone a message or you get excited for them when you see that you guys are posting that someone's got a role or another interview. So it's really nice to be able to talk to people at different stages as well and hear what went well for them or what didn't. Like the Loom one is a big one. Like everyone gets really caught up on their Loom videos, as did I, like early days. And then I was like, I'm spending so much time on these. And then we were like, no, like we need to back this off and actually like figure out where strategically, like where they're important and where we should use them. Um, so yeah, but to be able to like kind of share that with people and it makes a massive difference. It's another like super big benefit of why you'll keep kind of coming back to that website, even though might not need the interview things anymore. There's still a whole heap of value there for the long term for your role.
Would love to just highlight two Loom videos and how you used AI through the journey, Ash, because experiences vary. We like to use things quite strategically, and it's almost like it's not a step-by-step linear thing. A lot of the time it can be concurrent or like a learning loop.
Yep,
Share how you used AI, research,
yep.
your collaboration, but also even just like the Loom experience you had would be really cool.
Yeah, well, the AI component was like a huge part of the interview process as well. So it was asked multiple times, like, how are you using it? What are your workflows? So that is really important. It's kind of funny, like probably 12 to 18 months ago, people were almost trying to hide that they were using AI for like their job applications. And now it's if you're not using it, you're behind. But for me, I like had my job application project on Claude, and then as soon as I kind of progressed to another role, I would create another project just for that role, add all my documents in there, constant reviewing of what it was, the interview prep, your kind of prompts as well around how to do the applications. But one thing I did do with this one, which was a little bit different, was actually just like the old school, like print the job description and like write exactly what how like my situation applied to each of the requirements, which I think really helped me compared to some of the early ones, because it's really helpful AI, and obviously you want to use it and do all that, but also like just actually being like prepared, it made me feel a lot more comfortable going into the interview. And then the Loom videos, I just tried to personalize them as much as possible and be me in them. Like I think I said to you, like me sitting down, just trying to like look at a camera, it'll be the most awkward thing in the world. So I think I was like out walking my dog on a few of them, just trying to talk to the camera, and like I cut out a little bit that was really personal to the job that I was applying to as well, so that I kind of had that section where I was just introducing myself. I didn't have to re-record that each time, but then I also just had a little bit that I would talk to the role and the company that I was applying for. And it made it much easier, much quicker to smash me out. I didn't have to do it for Gorgeous because they were that quick to respond and progress through the process. So unfortunately, then they missed a Loom video from me, which I'm sure they're shattered about. But it definitely helped.
So good. I love that you highlighted too, like taking care with the role in the job description. And time again, you can oftentimes glean a lot about the role, and even just like conversational points. And it's cool that you actually studied the JD and pulled out a couple of key things from the Gorgeous opportunity. Just relate that back because, using AI, like you say, you want to be skilled in it and it can help accelerate. But at the end of the day, it's like you got to come back and recognize, are you actually learning things here? And what is your learning style? Are you actually moving the dial for your own skills and knowledge to be able to take that into the interview process? So yeah, it's a good point to say you actually study the requirements related to yourself, and just make sure you're taking that forward as well.
Yeah, 100%. Because I feel like AI tells you why you're going to be good at the job, where when you go do that on the job description, you're actually explaining why you're going to be good at the job. So I think they're both important. Need to do both.
Yeah, it's a big shift, hey.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It was it reminded me of like high school when you used to go apply for jobs and they'd be like, write out the. It was exactly that advice. So there you go. Did learn something.
Age-old advice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, very cool. And what advice would you have, Ash, for someone coming into the program if you think about all the support, resources, the looms, the targeting strategy, personalization versus what's important to you? How would you round out that advice for someone that might be actually just starting the program today?
Yeah, good question. I think you spoke about it, like the strategic importance of what you want to do. Like actually sit down and think about that a little bit, because then everything else can kind of fall off the back of that. Like if you want to be in a role in 4 weeks, like maybe you are going like really, really hard at everything, you're reviewing it all. But like you said, we spoke about that I wasn't in any big rush. Finding a role that was really suitable for me was the most important thing. And that meant that, maybe I wasn't spending as much time as other people were of like reading and reviewing everything. But when the time come, I knew that all of those assets were there for me to be able to use. So that's probably the thing I would say is just like actually sit down and think about what you want. It might change and evolve as you go through, but like all the information's there, and you don't need to consume it all at once. Like we spoke about last week, like when you log into Circle now, it might be like, wow, this is really overwhelming. But if you kind of get a sense of what's there, you can go back as to when you need it. So take your time and obviously use you guys, but also use other people in the community as well to ask questions and reach out. I don't think anybody would have a message that hasn't been responded to pretty quickly from other people in the community.
Do you think we got the blend right with the, resources versus the coaching versus community,
Yeah,
supporting the journey?
yeah,
It's all there.
absolutely. Me and you have like nerded out over like the AI and the notions and all the workflows that you've got. I think it was like 15 minutes of one of my one-to-ones that we were probably chatting about that, because I was like, yeah, keen to know how you're enjoying it. But it's just really, it's easy to go through. Everything's there that you need. And then you tie that in with having the access to people. It makes it so easy.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree. And we're starting to see a lot of people come back into the community too, just to share the experiences, because we also recognize, the learn by doing is really critical, but learning from other people's experiences too. Because at the end of the day, as we said at the start, you can roll out the playbook, but everyone's in a different situation. Everyone's different. So, you've got to take the best bits, apply it to your situation, and then use this amazing infrastructure all encompassing around you to really maximize and get that outcome that you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think when Lee and Mike did their versions of the podcast, like I was getting that transcript, putting that into AI, reviewing the bits that like where they felt like they had the most success to make sure I was hitting those. And again, that's for the job as well, not just for the interview process. Like that stuff is going to be so helpful for when I actually start.
How exciting, Ash. Have
Very
you got
excited.
any parting words, in this public sphere if anyone's considering, or maybe just like a key question I've been asking is, of course, you can go at it alone, job search, coming into tech, but what was actually the big motivational driver for you in terms of actually choosing to come and work with us in the double triple? Like, why not go at it alone?
Yeah, I think this is another one we spoke about when I first reached out to you guys. I was like, oh, should I invest in like a little bit of a side hustle that I had going, or should I go down this path? And that was like the question I was asking myself. Like I was like, oh, I've got this like capital to be able to invest into myself right now. Like, what's going to be the best path for me long term? And I think I said to you, I'm like, oh, I'll think about it for a couple of weeks. I actually went away and just applied for a few jobs that I didn't even really want just to see like what the process was. And it was very different to the advice that I then got from you guys and got nowhere. So, like I wouldn't have got this opportunity without a doubt, kind of without following the double triple advice. So I think it's well worth the investment. I will see it back very, very quickly. You just got to decide if it's kind of right for you, but it definitely was for me. I'm very glad I made that call.
Yeah, it's awesome. Maybe that's the approach for people considering, take your approach. Just go and apply and see what happens. And after
Yeah,
five
applied's
out
out
of
of box
five
because I think,
rejections,
yeah, yeah, I'd be surprised given where kind of like the job market's at and how many people I see posting on LinkedIn and things like that now, without following kind of that specific playbook. I reckon it's a pretty hard slog.
chalk and cheese. But it's good. We do believe in the philosophy and the core proprietary models we've set up at Double Triple. They're getting amazing outcomes for people. And it's also really pleasing. It's just like nothing better for Kayla and I when we see people get these offers and these amazing outcomes. It's
Yeah, you
just
get
like,
emotional, don't you, Gab?
I get a bit emotional. Yeah, a bit of a
You guys on a
marshmallow.
call with you when someone else got their offer, and then when you called me last week after I spoke to you. So yeah, I can see
You
that.
can attest to that. Bit of a hard exterior, but definitely soft and gooey on the inside, Ash.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's very rewarding, and it's just cool to be a part of people's journeys too, because at the end of the day, this kind of thing, it's like you're moving into like another phase of life. People inevitably are having mindset shifts, or there's new like confidence that gets established, or belief systems that sort of move into like a just like it's very impactful for people's individual lives, and it's really cool to actually I don't know, like hold a container and a program and a platform where we have this community all going through that. And I just think it's like a special place to be for us in our lives, but also for you, for people coming through the program, because it's also it's like a big life decision, right? You're moving into a new job and career a lot of the time, oftentimes a big significant improvement in financial situation, and then it's just like it's everything that's to come for the future. So it's like we don't take that lightly either in terms of the impact on people's lives at the end of the day.
Yeah, you could hear that. I reckon you guys were the second people that I messaged my husband, and then you guys to be like, "Yep, offers come through." And then when you both rang me, you could tell like how excited you both were for me, which is so nice.
Yeah, nice. We're all
Yeah,
over
yeah,
it.
yeah. No, it was nice though. Like it's nice to share those things with people. And yeah,
Yeah.
you guys genuinely be excited. It was cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I always say we pride ourselves on being the number one hype girls, that's for sure.
Yep, yep. No, absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, very excited for you, Ash. It's been a pleasure working with you through the program. Looking forward to seeing you hit the ground running in this new opportunity and staying a part of the community, of course, and moving into that next part of the resources on the 30, 60, 90-day plan and being wildly successful in your first quarter and beyond for this new role. So thanks again for being a
Absolutely.
part of the Double Triple community
No,
and
thank
program,
you.
and looking forward to seeing you this weekend as well.
Yeah, we'll catch up in person, and yeah, thanks for all of your support as well. Much appreciated.
Awesome, Ash. Thanks so much.
Thank you.